If you're ambitious but lazy, then this video is for you. I know exactly how you feel. You're in a place where you have big goals and dreams you want to accomplish and feel like you're the kind of person that is going to get that done. But you can't seem to stay consistent. You keep telling yourself, tomorrow I'll cut out all my vices. Tomorrow I'll get everything done to actually start. But you never do. You keep coming up with excuses or simply getting scared. I was in the exact same place. For years I wanted to start a business and I wanted to get a shredded six-pack, but I would never be able to. I would make excuses and couldn't seem to get out of the rut. Couldn't seem to get out of the vices. Couldn't actually follow a strict diet. Couldn't follow a strict routine, and didn't have my priorities straight. I thought that I was ambitious but just lacked discipline. But actually, your problem isn't a lack of discipline. It's that you're still chasing pleasure instead of purpose. You want to be disciplined, but you're still chasing what feels good, and you haven't mastered that part of your mind to delay your gratification. You're trying to build a strong body with a weak standard. Now, here's what I was thinking when I was at this point. If I just try harder, I'll be more disciplined. And this never worked, and it wasn't true. Here's why. Effort isn't actually the issue. Direction is. You can be trying hard by working out randomly, quitting porn for a few days, and eating clean sometimes, but you're still stuck because you're still living in comfort. So you don't need more effort, you need a different target to be chasing. Through my experiences with playing sports, getting into the gym, and overcoming temptations, I learned that I could be disciplined when it was forced, but I had no discipline when it wasn't my choice and when I didn't have structure. So this video is going to break down how to ultimately force yourself to be disciplined and have a structured life that makes you successful. So the first step is understanding why pleasure is actually the issue. This is why. Pleasure is a short-term identity. It reinforces comfort, weakness, and avoidance while not paying attention to the long term. Purpose is the long-term identity, which builds discipline, self-respect, and control. Every action is either training you to be weak or training you to be dangerous. And God says this in the Bible. This isn't just principles in life, it's biblical truth. Galatians 5:16 says, "Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." So if you're chasing purpose by walking in your faith, you cannot do that while gratifying the desires of your flesh. 1 Corinthians 9:27 says to discipline your body and keep it under control so that you're not disqualified after preaching to others. And lastly, James 1:2-3 says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you encounter trials, because the testing of your faith produces endurance." All these verses explain that you feel resistance because your flesh wants the easy way out, but your calling requires your life to be difficult. Resistance and difficulty isn't actually a problem. It's confirmation that you're doing the right thing. So you have to understand when you encounter pain, difficulty, struggles, temptations, those are all good because they're growing you to be a stronger person. All right, next we have to understand the lie of burnout. One of the reasons you might not be able to stay consistent is because you tell yourself that you feel burnt out after a week of going hard. But the truth is you're stuck in the cycle that is hard to get out of, which is why you feel burnt out. You're not doing too much, you're just stuck and can't escape the loop. You chase pleasure, feel guilt, go extremely all in, burn out, and then repeat. You're not actually burnt out from a lack of discipline, you're burnt out because of inconsistency. All right, so how do we actually chase purpose over feeling? Well, the key to this is completely shifting your identity. Practical step to take is whenever you're tempted to fall off, rather than asking, what do I feel like doing? Because that's going to lead you to fall into stuff you don't want to fall into. You should start asking yourself, what would a disciplined man of God do? Because that's what you're trying to grow. Even if you have all these other ambitions and goals, it's all rooted in being a disciplined, godly man. Next, you have to set up a few simple non-negotiables to live by. And this isn't a list of 20 things you need to do to be successful. It's a couple simple habits that you have to stick to every day. These, for me, include training my body, eating with intention, spending time with God, and controlling my impulses. Those are 4 simple habits that I center my entire life around, and they ultimately cause me to remove the choice of doing something bad because they don't line up with my identity. And so removing the choice removes the opportunity to fail and fall off. Next, you have to control your inputs because the environment that you live in is going to affect you more than your willpower. Some simple steps you can take is keeping your phone outside of your room if you're struggling with lust or procrastination with like doom scrolling. Keeping a clean room, clean space, that's going to help you feel organized and structured and more easily disciplined. It's also going to make your brain feel less cluttered. And then removing triggers. So that's uninstalling apps, setting up blockers, stop going to things you shouldn't be going to, anything like that that is going to make you fall off of working for your mission. you ultimately don't have enough willpower to rise above your environment, so you have to cut out the triggers rather than just trying to outsmart or out willpower those temptations. All right, the next step is replacing pleasure with purpose, because you can't just quit your bad habits and go cold turkey without structure. You have to replace those habits with more productive, God-honoring habits such as training, building, serving others, building a business, creating, whether that be content or writing a book or just something that is benefiting your mind and body and spirit in a healthy way. If you don't replace the bad habit, you'll return to it no matter what. So you have to replace your pleasure with purpose rather than just eliminating the pleasure and having an empty void. All right, the next step is understanding that your physique and your body exposes your standards. If you're skipping workouts, overeating, and not being consistent in the weight room or in the kitchen, then that's going to be a reflection of what you choose every day. Your body is a direct reflection of your mindset and your body, which is, I believe, every man needs to master their body in the process of mastering their mind and growing their business or anything else that they're striving for. 1 Corinthians 9:27, once again, disciplining your body and keeping it under control sort of qualifies you, as Paul says, because your body is a direct reflection of what you choose to do with yourself every single day. All right, so overall, you don't need more motivation or more hacks or more habits to implement into your life. You need to simplify down to a clear identity, clear pillars to center your entire life around, and ultimately you need to hold yourself to a higher standard, and that higher standard should align with your purpose, which ultimately falls under God's direction and your faith with Him. So you need to stop chasing what feels good and start becoming who God called you to be. Pleasure is going to keep you comfortable, but make you feel like you need to do more. Purpose will change your life and make you feel fulfilled. Start choosing purpose over pleasure today, or you'll feel stuck forever. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start as soon as you're done with this video. Simple action steps: write down your 3 to 4 pillars to center your life around, one big thing you need to cut out and what you're going to replace it with, and ultimately why you want to do that to honor God. That way you have the deeper motivating reason to do it. So do that after you're done with this video so that you can actually start living this way and not just move on to the next video and forget about this in a few weeks. And if you feel like you still need direction, maybe you're having a hard time mastering your body, you don't know exactly how to do your diet or your training, or you're struggling with any sort of ache or pain, and even if you're struggling with just the discipline and the mindset side of it, that is exactly what my coaching helps with. It isn't your typical fitness coaching. It deep dives into the mindset behind training and behind behaviors and vices, and helps you cut off every struggle at the root while growing your relationship with God. It teaches you that everything that you do should be for a higher purpose, to serve the Lord, and teaches you how to master your body so that you can have a bulletproof temple of the Lord. If that sounds good to you, you can book a one-on-one call with me down below in the description, and we can talk through the next steps and see if you're a good fit. Be sure to like this video to boost it, and subscribe for more mindset and training videos like this. And remember, you weren't created to chase pleasure. You were created to honor God through discipline and to live up to a higher purpose.